Hey, Buff Nation, voice of the bus, Mark Johnson here. Coming up this week in the Buffalo Stampede television show as we come to you from Corelli's here in Boulder. We're out here every Monday night for Buffs Prime Time with Tad Boyle and J.R. Payne. We're going to talk with the women's coach. Off to a 12-3 start, getting ready for number 8 Utah this week. The CU men coming off a split in the Bay Area. They've got the Oregon Ducks coming to town. We're going to talk with Tad Boyle and Javon Hadley. And we're going to look at a couple of former Buff track standouts who are doing some great things on the world stage. All this week on the Buffalo Stampede.
Kick over to Miller. Miller for three up top. Yeah!
Beautiful shot by Quay.
He's got it. Kicks it back out. Tam for three. Yeah! Field 44-31. And now Miller jumps in front of the lane and steals the basketball away.
Well, the Colorado women's basketball team on a roll right now. There we see some highlights of the Buffs win in Seattle over the Washington Huskies. They, in fact, went on to sweep the weekend over UW and Wazoo. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Buffalo Stampede. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, coming from one of the great spots here in Boulder. And it's Corelli's. We're out here every Monday night for the Buffs Primetime radio show. Great spot to come on by before or after any CU sporting event. CU women, though, they're 12-3 in the campaign. Got a big one coming up on Thursday. Make it Friday night. They've got number 8 Utah coming to town. But we spent some time talking with J.R. Payne about a great start to the season, sitting at 12-3. Presented by Coors Light. Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment made to chill. Celebrate responsibly. CU women now sitting at 12-3 on the season, coming off a sweep over the Washington schools. They won on Friday at UW, 64-56. Then Sunday at Washington State, 65-54. Welcome in the head coach of the Buffaloes and family. Who got with us tonight?
And Jackson, he's hiding.
He's down on the table. Oh, he's behind the pillows back there right now. So he got up here. He thought he was wearing the headphones, by the way, when he got up here. So, well, congratulations. Great weekend.
Thank you.
You guys have been road warriors. Holy cow, you've been on the road a lot.
Yeah, we've played more road games in our non-conference and just to start with 3 conference games on the road than we've ever played.
Yeah.
And so we kind of feel like we've run the gauntlet, and hopefully we don't, relax at all now that we're going to be home for a couple weeks. But very happy to be able to have a great record, with so many road games.
Yeah, Jared sat down. She said, we get to be home for 18 days now. So this one with Utah, and then you've got the Arizonas coming.
Yeah.
So you're here. You said at 12-3.
Yeah.
What's going well? What's not going well? Tell us.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really know what we were going to be this year. We graduated some players that have been 4- and 5-year starters for us, people that had huge impacts on our program and what we've discovered. And I thought this would be the case. You lose someone like Hollingshed, who was kind of all everything. We're a much more balanced ball club. So we have a lot of different players that can score. We have a lot of different players that can rebound, a lot of different players that can hit big on any different night. And we have a very very unselfish group. No real egos. Nobody really cares who scores, who rebounds, who does what. And they do a great job of celebrating each other when it's sort of next man up mindset of who does well.
When you lose what you lost, having somebody like Quay Miller here a year ago, she comes into your program and she's the 6th player of the year in the Pac-12. Now a starter. She's an awful nice cornerstone to have.
Oh yeah, Quay is incredible. For those of you that haven't met Quay,
she's awesome.
She's incredible. I mean, she's one of the most incredible human beings I've ever been around. She talks, she's genuine, she's loving, she works hard, she takes care of her teammates. Like she is cornerstone is a great word for her.
Yeah. And she's been playing well, and having her in the starting lineup. Last year, you kind of had that bonus of bringing her off
icing,
the bench.
Yeah. She was like the ultimate icing last year because she could have started in most programs, but we were pretty solid at that spot, and so she, unselfishly was happy to come off the bench, didn't care. But yeah, she's been incredible for us. Senior point guard Sherrod has been. She's been great all 4 years, but her numbers this year are really, really good. Like percentages are through the roof, and less minutes, higher percentages. She's feeling good and playing well.
Tell us about Aaronette Von Lay.
Oh, man. Aaronette, Nettie, we call her.
And give us the background. How she ended up
background on Aaronette. She's a sophomore. When she was coming out of high school, she was State Player of the Year in Oregon, led the state of Oregon in scoring, Gatorade, all that stuff. And it came down to Colorado and Arizona. Arizona was just coming off their Final Four run. She ends up at Arizona. Hardly played it all her freshman year, was unhappy, whatever. Ended up going in the portal, and it was almost automatic she was going to come here just because it had come down, to us and And so her transition here has been really comfortable, really easy. Her brother Noah plays for the Boston Celtics. I would say she's just as athletic as her brother. She can dunk. If we had a sprinting contest, she'd probably finish second behind Sherrod. Like, she's this big, strong, incredible athlete that can do so many different things. And ever since she got here, we see so much in her, but she's one of the quietest, kids you could meet. And we keep saying, I can't wait until she sees in herself what we see in her, because she's very, very humble. And I think she's starting to see it, especially after a weekend like this where she played so well.
You just mentioned a moment ago about Jalen Sherrod and not having the same number of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a mature player. Even though the numbers are very good for what she is playing, but it takes a mature player to give up some of those minutes for the better of the team, correct?
Yeah, and I think she's very much willing. I mean, if we had a really tight game, she'd probably play 37 minutes.
Right,
it's not that she's. We've just had some games where we could rest her a little bit. She's had some, pretty major surgery a couple years ago, and so when there's an opportunity, to be able to keep her in the 27-minute range, that's incredible, long term. So she's a very unselfish player.
You got Utah coming to town on Friday night.
Yes.
You went to their place. You dropped that one.
Yep.
They're still undefeated. They're ranked 8th in the country.
Yep.
It's a heck of a challenge you got coming.
It is. We're excited for the challenge because we really felt like while they are a really good team, we did not play well in Salt Lake City. So we're excited for the rematch and feel like there's some things that we can do. We're going to be better this time around.
There's head coach J.R. Payne. Great start to the season. The Buffs have been road warriors, by the way, through the bulk of non-conference play. Now they get to stay home for a while. Friday night, 7 o'clock, you've got number 8 and undefeated Utah coming to town. After that, you've got the Arizona schools coming. So Colorado's going to play 18 straight days here at home in Boulder, Colorado. We're live at Corelli's for the Buffalo Stampede television show. Coming up next, we're going to talk with head coach Tad Boyle talking men's basketball.
Goes to work. KJ in the paint, floater from 14. Count it, whistle and a foul from behind. Spencer Jones bumped him. And KJ Simpson is getting off to De Silva on the right wing. Hands off to KJ. Michael Jones nearly got away. KJ driving at his right hoop. Layup is up and good. 17 seconds remaining. KJ Simpson knifing in for the right side. Muscled through contact and laid it up and in. The Buffs are on top by 1. 71-70 with 18 seconds remaining here in Northern California. And Colorado steals a win over the Tree.
Back in the Buffalo Stampede television show, the Buffs got a nice road victory opening up their swing through the Bay Area with a come-from-behind 73-70 win over Stanford. Now, the next ball game at Cal didn't quite go the Buffs' way, and so come home with kind of mixed results, if you will. Tad Boyle not happy about that game against the Cal Golden Bears. They're back home now for the Oregon schools coming to town. And here at Corelli's for Buffs Primetime on Monday night, we talked with Tad Boyle about that tough road trip through the Bay Area. Powered by Ford. Cars, trucks, and SUVs built for America. Built Ford proud.
We've always talked about 1 step forward, 2 steps back. We took 1 step forward, 5 steps back this weekend. Right. I really believe that. So really a bitter taste that doesn't get out of your mouth until you get on the practice floor, which we did today. But it's going to still linger until Thursday night when we tip it off against Oregon. And it's going to be, okay, what are we going to do then? What kind of improvement? And I told our team today, I think it's important that our supporters know that, there's a lot of people that invest in this program. They invest in their scholarship donors. They invest in season tickets. They invest their time. They invest their, emotions. And we're not giving them a return on their investment, and that disappoints me as a coach because that's something I take personal. I appreciate the support that we get, but we got to return, the effort that we give every single night on the floor to our fans, and we failed them against Cal. We didn't fail them against them, and it's not always winning. It's not just judged on winning. It's just judged on our demeanor, our toughness. What we're bringing to the table every night. And when we fall short, I take it personal.
Is this team, and here you're in your 13th season now here at Colorado, as perplexing as any team you've had? And I asked that based on this. It's a very talented team, undoubtedly.
We've got some talent.
Yeah.
We're not by far not one of our more talented teams.
Sure.
By far.
Okay.
We've got some talented players,
yeah.
but top to bottom, this is not one of our more talented teams. But we're skilled.
Sure. this team has shown it can play at a high level.
Absolutely.
Right? You get a window that win against number 11 Tennessee comes to mind. Number 24 Texas A&M. But kind of does this up and down depending on which way the wind blowing kind of thing. Is that perplexing?
It's frustrating because you know what you're capable of, but you're not getting it day in and day out. You're not getting it night in and night out, and that's frustrating because again, that's my job as the coach, is to make sure we're ready every time we take the floor, and we have been for the most. I've up until the Cal game, I didn't feel like we ever, even when we didn't play well against Boise, it wasn't because we weren't competing and playing hard. And I didn't feel like it's not like we didn't compete or play hard against Cal, but we just did not have that toughness mindset. And that's the biggest thing with me. We're going to have Javon Hadley on, and we'll talk about him, I'm sure, as we get closer to having him on his segment, but he's a guy that you never have to worry about with toughness,
right?
And that's, but we need that from everybody. And against Cal, it was the defensive. When you got a team that's averaging 58 points a game, that hangs 80 on you. They're averaging 40% field goal percentage, and they shoot 58 on you. And 2 nights later, Utah holds them to 43 points.
Right.
Something's wrong. Something's wrong with you and your defense, and so that's the challenge that I have laid at my feet. And guess what? I'm ready for it. We're gonna get it. We got after it in practice today. We're gonna do it tomorrow. We're gonna do it on Wednesday, and my God, I hope we're better on Thursday.
So how do you approach the tip? Because I don't know. Is it safe to say it's not a physical thing? It'd be more of a mental thing, or how do you?
It's a pride thing.
It's
about what's right here in your chest, that ticker, and do you have enough pride to rectify, what just went on? Do you have the self-awareness? Because I think there's a little bit of a disconnect. Coach Roan mentioned it today in our meeting, our film session, which wasn't real pleasant. But I think there's a disconnect with who our players think they are and what they are. Because again, you are what your record says you are. We're 9-6, 1-3 in the Pac-12, bottom half, close to the basement.
Right.
There's a disconnect. Our players don't think that's who they are, but that's who they are right now. That's who we are. That's who I am. I'm the head coach of a 1-3 Pac-12 team, and there's no getting away from that. So what are we going to do about it? That's the real critical question I ask myself every night before I go to bed and every morning I wake up.
Before we let you go here, you got Oregon coming to town.
Yep.
They always come in with talent. We well know that.
Oh, yeah.
But they've had their ups and downs this season. Is this based upon what we've been talking about? This is a game you're more focused on the Buffaloes than you are the Ducks?
Well, we'll have a scouting report for Oregon, and we've had success against them at times in the past. They play a matchup zone, and they kind of junk it up defensively on makes and misses. They try to keep you off balance, but they're a team a lot like us, I think, with the standards and expectations internally that are a little higher than what they've achieved so far this year. So 2 teams that are hungry for a win, and it's kind of a separation game in my mind. Every game becomes a separation game when you're 1-3 because you don't want to separate yourself on the. You need to scratch and claw your way into the top half, and the only way to do that is by taking care of your home court advantage. And Oregon got us here last year for the first time. It was the only game I missed because of COVID, but still they got us here in the event center, and so we need this game, and it's not going to be easy. Dane Altman's a hell of a coach. They got good players. Will Richardson, 4-year starter, and Fali Dante, big-time talent. They got some dudes.
There's the head coach of the Buffaloes, Tad Boyle, as we had Buffs Prime Time on Monday night here at Corelli's as we continue on the Buffalo Stampede television show. Coming up on Thursday night now, the first of 2 games against the Oregon schools. The Oregon Ducks on Thursday at 7 o'clock at the event center. We're going to hit the air at 6:30 with the Buffs warm-up pregame show on the Colorado Basketball Network. We're going to continue talking men's basketball next. We'll be joined by a guy who might be as consistent as anybody in the Buffs this season. Junior college transfer Javon Hadley going to join us next.
KJ across the timeline. Blows by the defender on his way to the hoop. Layup is up and good. 19 for KJ. Now the Buffs within 6. 22 seconds, top of the key, long three, and KJ knocks that one down. 13 seconds. Out top, KJ spins, top of the key, pulls up, three ballers on the way, and he hit another one.
Well, it was a disappointing outcome in Berkeley against the Cal Golden Bears, but the Buffaloes made a heck of a game of it. At the end of the contest, in fact, KJ Simpson scored 16 points down the stretch in the last 2 minutes and 11 seconds, but the Buffs fall to the Golden Bears. Back here in the Buffalo Stampede at Corelli's Monday night, we had Buffs Prime Time, the radio show out here, and we talked with Javon Hadley, the junior college transfer, has been outstanding for the Buffaloes to start his career here in Boulder.
So how did you become a Buffalo? We're talking to asked Ted about how he found you. How did you become a Buff?
Yeah, I mean, like Coach was talking about earlier, right time, everything just kind of fell into place. Right after our little championship run in the national tournament for my junior college, I just started getting recruited. My recruiting started to pick up heavy. And, Coach Mike Rowan was, one of the first coaches to reach out. And, I got connected with Coach Boyle right away. And he told me all the right things that, I wanted to hear in a coach. And I kind of just, I trusted everything that he said. So that was one of the biggest things I was looking for.
Well, when you say you heard everything, what were you looking for from your next stop?
The biggest thing was just the family.
Yeah.
A place that really everyone just really cares about each other. Because I feel like that's the, one of the key steps in, having a, a good program. And, from everybody that I've talked to, from McKinley Wright to, Shane Gatling, everyone just said that it's a family here. Okay. So, that was one of the big things that really caught my eye right away.
So you were doing your homework.
Yeah, for sure.
What Colorado was. You made a few phone calls, correct?
Yeah.
Talked to guys and asked them.
Yeah, McKinley Wright was the main one, considering both from the the Minnesota area.
I was going to ask you. So did you guys know each other?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I grew up watching him play.
You would have been what, 3 years behind him?
Roughly something like that. Okay, so I used to go to his high school games and stuff and watch. Okay. I'm not sure he knew who I was back then. Right. But I was watching him, so it was cool.
Where does his size come from? Mom's side, dad's side, or? Was your sister a big person as well?
Yeah, she's not. She's like 5'10". Oh, okay. My mom's probably like 5'5". My dad's probably right around that 6'1", 6'2" area. Okay. So I guess I just got blessed with the height. I'm not really sure where it comes from, but I guess it's just a blessing. So,
what are you studying?
I'm studying sociology.
When basketball is over, and I hope that's a long way down the road, what do you want to do?
I'm still working on that one. I'm not too sure. But
well, when you're 21, you don't have to have all the answers.
I'm not too sure. I just know sociology is a good path to go down. Yeah. I know you can do a lot of different things with that, so and it's interesting.
Would you ever think about coaching? It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of time.
Yep.
You got to deal with a bunch of kids that don't do what they're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
So how do you look at coming off the tough game against Cal the other night? Right, you guys, you're an upperclassman. You got to shoulder some of the responsibility. What do you think about this team moving forward?
We had a great practice today. We all got after it, and just taking a lot of those kind of mistakes that we had, and just learning about different areas that we can improve. Those film sessions. Yeah. Those are key. A lot of people don't really think about that type of stuff. Right. But watching film and seeing your mistakes and where you can improve on, and really taking that is also a pretty big factor.
This guy right here is a cornerstone of this team. When you're at the ball games, keep an eye out on him. He's a tough kid, playing very good basketball. It's great to have you as Colorado Buffalo.
Appreciate you.
There's Javon Hadley. He's been outstanding. The St. Paul native has been a great pickup for the Buffaloes coming out of Indian Hills Community College. He has been a guy that's been very consistent this year for the Buffaloes as they get ready to take on the Ducks of Oregon on Thursday night. Coming up next here on the Stampede, we're going to talk track and field here for the Colorado Buffaloes. One of the great spots here in Boulder, Colorado. Head coach Mark Wetmore from track and field and cross country. What a legacy he has at the University of Colorado. Now he's a Hall of Famer. Well deserved. You consider what he's done, all the national championships he's won. He certainly is one of the great track and field coaches in America. A couple of his former athletes, by the way, have done some great things here recently on the world stage, winning some world championships. We'll start out with Adam Peterman.
After running at Colorado, I moved back to where I'm from in Montana. There's like a pretty strong community of ultra runners and trail runners. And I just kind of fell in with that crowd and got really into it right away. And like, I loved running at Colorado and being on the team. I just enjoy trail running like a little bit more, even since, you know, you're not with a team, you're just out there by yourself a lot of the time. You know, we're not running like 6:30 pace anymore for all our runs. You know, in college we were so focused on mileage, but now I've kind of transitioned more to like looking at it in hours. I never would have thought 3 years ago that running the Moab Trail Marathon and winning that would lead me to like winning a world title. It was 80K, I think it was 48 miles with about 16,000 feet of gain. On the world team, we were looking around and there was like quite a few of us who ran for Colorado. I think a lot of us, we learn a ton at Colorado about discipline and the type of training that works for us. I think it's just like the culture that Mark and Heather create. You're trying to be excellent, like be the best at your sport. It's cool to see the CU squad cleaning up on the trails as well.
Well, congratulations to Adam Peterman winning the World Championship in trail running in Thailand. How about that? One of his fellow teammates, also a former Buff, Allie McLaughlin, won the same event on the women's side.
Allie McLaughlin from United States of America! Going into the race, I didn't know the course super well because I only flew in a couple days before. It was just kind of like uphill the whole way, and so you just had to grind and not stop. My goal was just to not hike too much. And we ended in this village on top of the mountain. Once I saw the finish line, like I just grabbed it and pyrotechnics went off. And oh my gosh, I just wanted that moment to last forever. Like, it was so cool. And I remember like looking back and like what just happened. It was probably one of my favorite moments running ever. I came to see you in 2009 and went to nationals that year. I got 5th individually, which was super cool. I still just value that year and my time at CU so much. I feel like I learned everything I needed to learn at CU. Mark and Heather did everything they could to make things work. It led me to find trail running. After I graduated, I met some trail runners and I realized there was like a US team and there was a whole community, and I made the US team in 2014, and then I also won Pikes Peak Ascent. And then it was like, I found my niche. I just feel like I have this Buff connection. I think the program and the fact that it's in Boulder, I think it kind of exposes us to good trails and love for the mountains, and I think a lot of alumni naturally is good at trails or flocks to the trails.
Well, congratulations to Adam and Allie Mack winning those world championships. Some great buffs. There are a lot of great buffs from track and field that go on to do some phenomenal things under Mark Wetmore's leadership. As we come to you from Corelli's, right here every Monday night for Buffs Primetime with Tad Boyle and J.R. Payne. Come out and join us between 7 and 8 o'clock here at Corelli's each and every week. I'm voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Thanks for joining us this week on the Buffalo Stampede. We'll talk to you next time.